Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. So let's see. Mm. So, let's see. Okay. Sonia, I don't know what I'm doing. Kim is usually the person who sets this stuff up. But y'all in South Carolina giving me a headache, one. My patience is thin. Okay, South Carolina, I'm going to try to go through this quickly because we shouldn't even have to talk about this at all. Um, we've been in this pandemic now for far too long. Let me zip myself up, I'm about to show everything. Listen, we have been in this pandemic for too long for us to have to play these games. So what do I mean? Let me see if I can figure this out. Again, y'all have to bear with me because Kim usually does this and she's smarter than me. So it is what it is. Boom. I am hoping, let me see, that's not even supposed to be up. I don't know. I'm hoping y'all can see my screen over here. If you can, Tip, can you see the rest of my computer screen where it says MUSC agrees to pause use of COVID-19 warning system? I hope y'all can see it because if you can't, you can't. Okay, fast forward. So we're going to try to walk through this, or I'm going to try to walk through this piece by piece of where Charleston, South Carolina, but South Carolina in totality is about to mess up in a big way, and we really need to start taking this thing seriously. Back, I don't know if you guys remember, back in like what was it, April? There was a post I did with Brute Media in which we were talking about the ongoing cases that were in New York City, and I said, you know, I'm great to talk about New York City. We definitely need to talk about New York City because that was the hot spot at the time. But I said, if COVID-19, if the pandemic ever makes its way down to the Deep South, we are in trouble because the Deep South is not set up to survive that type of mass of people getting sick at once, right? And so we're going to walk through why the state of South Carolina telling MUSC to pause use of an emergency management system, of which MUSC has done a fantastic job. Let me just give a shout out to my home. Okay, MUSC has been on it. There's been media that I get, I don't know why I'm still on a listserv to get messages, but I like it. Messages going out to the communities of what to look out for, the telehealth and the virtual Medicine piece has been fantastic. I see the testing schedule that's out. Great. And then when I saw this, as far as the warning schedule, I said, oh, MUSC is showing out. Good for the state. So when I see this, that the state, the governor has asked MUSC, who has been the leaders in keeping my family and my friends safe, has asked them to step back. My question is why? That makes zero sense. And politics need to leave because, again, people are dying. They have been dying. So we're going to go through exactly why South Carolina in particular, all the rest of them have their own problems, with South Carolina in particular. So right now, I forgot to pull up this one website. I'll do it right now. South Carolina right now has about what? 1,200. Let me see here. Y'all try to go through all my notes. So this is a great website. TOPOS-states-charts. I'm not sure if y'all can see that. If you can't, listen, is a new day. So this goes by state, and it shows you what the cases are looking like since reopening, because every one state chose a different path to take, right? So let me see if I can make this bigger. If I can't, whatever. Okay, whatever. I can't. Okay, here we go. So Alabama, you see Alaska showing out. So basically, again, you'll see the state, you'll see the date, how many days since reopening, and then you'll see the percent change in cases of positive cases. So Alaska started out with very few cases. Nobody's traveling to Alaska. Big surprise. So anyway, so small amounts of case increase. So they have 94 positive cases. That caused a huge jump, right? But let's go on down and see which states are showing out the most. Arizona, we know they've been showing out. So we're going to go on down. We know Florida is going to be a hot mess. So Florida has had an increase of 15,000 cases, which is why yesterday on MSNBC, I told them when they said whether or not to open up Disney World, the answer was no. And today alone, they've had an insane surge in the number of cases, and yet they're still pushing to open, and it makes zero sense. So that's Florida. Georgia, you're on the watch list. So going down, we're going to keep on going to good old South Carolina. And again, I want to give kudos to the hospital system in South Carolina that has been doing a fantastic job trying to keep up with a political system that is trying to put them in strain and makes zero sense. So this is South Carolina. 66 days since reopening, South Carolina has had an increase of 1,235%. 2.3 thousand new cases in 66 days. I need y'all to stay home. Y'all been out and about. You're going to beaches, you're going to bars, you're going to house parties, you're going to baby showers. I see it all up and down on the timeline. You are. And I'm about to show you what has the potential to happen to you in ways that we are not prepared for. So remember this, okay? So let's go through one by one. So again, the state of South Carolina has told one of the largest hospital systems, if not the largest hospital system in South Carolina, to stop trying to be a beacon of information to the public. There is nothing wrong in this emergency management system. Code red, severe and uncontrolled levels in Charleston, South Carolina. I feel like y'all should be there. But anyway, apparently y'all on code orange, which is ongoing high levels of rapid increase in transmission. True. Testing, contract tracing capacities are under stress. True. Hospitals have substantial COVID-19 patients, but are still able to care for the volume of all patients, which is a good thing, but we're going to get to that. What you should do, minimize contact with others. True. Avoid medium to large gatherings. True, especially indoors. Shouldn't have to tell y'all that. Only visit places and businesses that follow public health guidelines. Wear masks, minimize contact, social distancing, and wash hands frequently. What does the state of South Carolina have a problem with? And any of that true? I don't know. But anyway, they wanted MUSC to take it down. Fast forward. So here we go. This is another website that is fantastic that you can go. There's many different websites you can use to look at COVID-19 cases and state by state information. This one is just one that's kind of readily easy to pull up. Boom. So this is called Worldometers, WORLDOMETERS .info. It's fantastic. So we see the United States in total has had 3.4 million cases, 137,782 deaths, with 1.5 million recovered. Now let's talk about these for a second. Again, because we oftentimes speak on the death, because that is definitely something we talk about. South Carolina, I don't know if everybody knows, but had their first child under the age of 5 to die this past week, within this week, from multi-system post-inflammatory syndrome. We got kids dying. Get your stuff together, South Carolina. So anyway, but we rarely talk about this recovered number. And I just want to speak on this for a second, because yes, 8% of those have died, 92% have recovered, but in that recovery, do know that COVID-19 causes an overall inflammatory state. And in that inflammatory state, there's blood clot formation that leads to strokes. Young people, and when I say young, I mean 40 and below, are having strokes. They're having heart attacks. We have people now with permanent damage to their heart, with heart failure. We have permanent damage to our lungs with oxygen requirements. We have permanent damage to our kidneys with now dialysis requirements. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they'll know where to find you, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays. We have people who've had to have amputation of their arms and their legs because of the blood clots that are formed. So this, although it says recovered, does not mean recovered without any consequences. That's just an aside. That was for free, because that had nothing to do with what I want to talk about. So if you look at this website, though, it'll give you a whole listing of what's the total cases, new cases within the last 24 hours. So you see we are at the United States right now, 57,000 new cases, total deaths, new deaths, active cases, the total cases for 1 million population. So you can basically, this one is so you can compare state to state, right? Because we know our states are different sizes as far as population. Just to give you kind of a knowing, South Carolina has 5 million, just so you know. Deaths for 1 million, and then total tests. So the good thing too about this little website, if you keep on going out to this, I'm trying to make this bigger. On this, you see sources. And if you want to get to that state's DHEC, so that's the department of where basically all the health information goes to that. You can just click on this number 1 for all of these, and it take you right to the state's department. Okay, boom. So I wanted to show you something on this page first. So we're gonna keep on scrolling down. This gives us a graph of the total cases in the United States based on days, right? So we see in the United States, for people who keep on saying which phase, which wave, this shows us our active cases, okay? I hope everybody can see, based on these graphs here, that we are still very much on the first wave. This is the first wave. We have not allowed ourselves to come down so we can get to a second wave. So we're on the same wave, people, okay? Fast forward. So this is looking at the number of deaths in the United States, right? So we see here, we had a huge surge in deaths, and then we started to go down, right? And now we see ourselves starting to do what? Pick right on back up. Now, hold on a second. Something's going on with the screen, and I don't know what. Let me see if I can fix it, and I probably won't be able to. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. Are we back? I hope we're back. If not, I don't know what to tell you. So this is looking at the, like I said, the number of deaths. So we had an increase in our deaths, and then we started to come down on our death, and everyone was like, oh, great, we're coming down on our death, right? The problem is, and we're going to see this in a bit, because I'm doing this in order so we can try to find some type of stream of thought. When we were having these rapid deaths, who was dying? That's right. It was in New York City. New York City was having massive amount of people that were dying per day right here in the beginning, end of March and the beginning of April, and well into mid-April actually. And when I say many people, I mean 600 to 1,000 people a day was dying in New York City alone. And so what we're seeing is that other states, these Florida, Texas, Arizona, South Carolina, Georgia, they weren't having deaths. We weren't having as many deaths. We were having maybe like 5 people die a day, something, which is a big number because every one is someone's mother, father, somebody's son or daughter, right? But we were having maybe 5, whereas New York was having 1,000, right? Now New York, look at New York. New York done got it together, ish. 11 people dying a day, which means then that other states are having some massive increases in death load. Now, today, this is now, right? And this is yesterday. Now, I want you to see a difference. It takes, when the hospitals are overwhelmed, it takes us a while to actually report and go through the system that the coroners and everyone else has the count of who has actually died for today. So there's a lag in the record, okay, of deaths. But what you see is that these states that were having maybe 5, maybe 10 people die a day are now starting to go up to close to 100 people dying a day each. Okay, we have Florida here, plus 95. We have Arizona, right? Texas, 78. Let me see what South Carolina, 22 in South Carolina, right? So scroll on back down. So this is, like I said, this is giving an idea of what this wave looks like. Now, here we go to the next part, talking about South Carolina. So this is South Carolina's DHEC website. Again, if you went to, let me show you again. Let me go to this one. Which one is, yeah. On this Wordle meters, if you go to where South Carolina is listed, where are you here? If you scroll our way over, let me actually go to today because I'm on yesterday. So South Carolina, come over to this little number 1, click on that, and it'll take you right to, again, South Carolina DHEC's page. Very easy to kind of follow, stream along. You got it. So let me show you what I wanted to show you. So here is looking at the total number of cases in South Carolina that have been reported. And I'm hoping this is big enough for y'all to see. I guess I could make it a little bigger. Let me zoom in. Boom. I'm doing the wrong zoom. Here we go. Okay, good. So you see the number of cases in South Carolina. Back in March, 26 cases, right? What we're seeing is that over the last few weeks, y'all, our case loads are starting to jump, right? South Carolina, I know y'all saw the report, has the highest case rate per capita of any state and the fastest rise of any state in the world, like y'all, in our nation. Like we're ranked number 3, okay, in the numbers of people that are coming up positive. And let's see who's actually coming up positive. Here y'all go. 22% of y'all between the ages of 21 and 30. Again, remember I said young people are having strokes. Young people are having their legs and their arms cut off from blood clots. Young people are dying too. Just know that. 16% between 40 and below, right? We see the older people, thank God, the older people are starting to stay more so in the house, I'm hoping, because they see y'all acting up. Y'all acting up. Let's see, this is broken down based on race. So 46% Caucasians, 32% African Americans, okay, 9% other. Where's my Hispanic? They only have the Hispanics listed. So I can do better. Oh, here we go, Hispanic. 12% Hispanic. So this is the breakdown of who is actually getting infected in women. Okay. Now we know that as far as mortality, men tend to have worse outcomes. So just know that, guys, at this 44.3%. So here's the thing. This is what our caseload is starting to do, right? And with that, we have to assume, and what we know is that same thing will happen with hospital utilization. So this is also on the South Carolina DHEC website, same webpage. This shows the hospital occupancy. So basically, how many hospital beds does South Carolina have available for if you get sick and you need help? Here we go, people. Let me zoom in on this one too. All right. This little yellow line is the Low Country. This little blue line, Midlands. Here we go down here with the upstate in green, okay? Red is PD, which I'm not even gonna lie, I didn't ever write PD, but PD. So anyway, so what we're seeing is that between 70 and 78%, of all hospital beds that are available right now in the state of South Carolina are taken. I'm gonna say that one more time. Because you got to remember, South Carolina, 8 counties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You see this little grayed out? You see this with no color on it? You know why it has no color? Because it has no hospital. Okay, these counties right here, we have Bamberg, Barnwell, McCormick, yep, Saluda, Fairfield, Lee, and Marble, no hospital. Okay, another 15 counties have less than 100 hospital beds, less than 100 general hospital beds in that county. 100. Y'all know y'all got more family members than that. So here we are with half of our counties, right? Half of our counties have less than 100 hospital beds in them, which means that if there's an outbreak in McCormick or Saluda, when they get sick, they're going to have to go over to the next largest county to get help. And those counties are already telling y'all that they are near max capacity. Okay, so it's not just COVID-19 that's going to be our problem. It's going to be people who are coming in with heart attacks, people who are coming in with strokes, people who are coming in who got a urinary tract infection and now they're septic, and the infection has overwhelmed their body and they need to go get help in the hospital. If the beds are all taken, people will die not only from COVID, but from things that we could have possibly saved their life from. Not only will they die because there's no bed, but you have to remember too, we are using up a lot of equipment, and by equipment, I mean medications. Our medications are running low. You see it on the news every day in Houston, where you see the physicians, the doctors, the nurses are running low because they are physically can't keep up. We're not machines. And so when you're working day after day after day after day, trying to keep a mass of people alive, you can't possibly keep up. But that being the case, because South Carolina, y'all don't want to listen and follow history, because if we look at what has happened before us, then we can figure out what we want to avoid. So again, remember these numbers. Right now in South Carolina, 77.9% of our beds are occupied in the Low Country, 74.4% in the Midlands, all the beds taken. If you have 4 beds, 3 of them are gone. You're left with 1, okay? Just keep that number, that ratio in mind. 73.1% in PD and 69.5% in the upstate. These beds are all taken. Why do I keep saying that? Well, let's look at our buddy. Remember, we were talking about New York City, and we said the reason why our death rate was so high initially in New York was because our overall in the United States was because New York City was doing so bad. Okay, well, let's look at this. So this is New York City. I was wanting to see how many hospitals, because New York City itself actually has 64 hospitals, 64 in that one city. Again, remember, 8 counties in South Carolina don't have a single hospital. 15 more of those counties in South Carolina only have 100 hospital acute or general hospital beds, right? That just putting that out there. The entire state of New York has like 213 hospitals, but New York City has 60, just to give you an idea. Fast forward. So I was trying to Google to see though, what was the hospital utilization when? So I scroll on down here, mapping New York City. This is in Bloomberg on March 25th, 2020. If you want to look it up, look it up. Scrolling on down, and what we see here is a report estimated that New York City on March the 19th had a hospital occupancy of 74.2%. Oh, looks like our number, 77, 74. New York City, March the 19th. So let's look what happened at March the 19th. So again, now we're going back to this Worldometer page. And I literally just clicked on New York so we can see what New York's numbers were specifically. And I'm going to scroll right on down to see what was happening on, again, March the 19th. What did New York City look like in terms of cases, right? So here was like March the 19th. And you see how their cases start to kind of surge. Same thing that we're doing right now. a little bit delayed because we were all closed down and shut down for a while, right? But we're seeing South Carolina cases are starting to do the same thing. Now let's see what that means for deaths, because that's what y'all playing around with. Okay, again, March the 19th. So we look at March the 19th, New York City was only having, and again, every N of one, every one is an important number because it's someone's life who has died, period, right? New York City on March the 19th was having 26 people die a day. 26 people. How many did South Carolina have died? We just said 22. Okay. 2 weeks later in New York City, this is New York. 2 weeks later is April 1st. Daily deaths, 691. March the 19th, daily deaths, 26. 2 weeks later, on April 1st, 691. South Carolina. Learn from people who have come before you. Don't make the same mistakes, okay? You don't have the same hospital system and structure as they have in New York and New York City, particularly. The hospital systems are trying to do the very best that they can do. MUSC has done fantastic. Greenville and Spartanburg have done fantastic, right? I've seen their reports coming out, and they're trying to keep up with you, but you can't keep up with cases that are skyrocketing. Okay, it's impossible to do that. And South Carolina just had its highest daily case rate of 2,000. What was it? Yeah, 2,200. 2,200. And 22% of the tests that were given on that Friday were positive. 22% positivity rate. We want less than 10, just so you guys know. We want to test more people, and people come back negative because all these positive cases, again, when you have a surge in your cases that are positive, what we know that follows, the lag time is usually about 2 weeks. And again, March the 19th to April the 1st, right? This little bar line right here, increase of over 600 people dying a day in 1 day. Okay. We don't have the resources in South Carolina. Overall, before COVID-19, we know that South Carolina was ranked, I think, 35th as far as overall health. We know diabetes and hypertension literally live down in the South, okay? And we know that COVID-19, if you have pre-existing conditions, you are more likely to die from COVID-19 if you have pre-existing conditions. So even if you're young in South Carolina, 20, 30, 40 years old, right? If you are 20, 30, 40 years old with high blood pressure, or you're pre-diabetic or diabetic, guess what? Your risk of dying from this goes, especially if the system is strained, because the resources are already being utilized. And again, like I said, South Carolina, we're already. So that's what this was about, just to show y'all these numbers so that you can see how these things, how they line up, how they match up, how we don't have to recreate the wheel to get ourselves together. If you see that when New York City, started to have a bump in their cases, that people started to die, then don't let your state look like this. That's not cute. Yeah, so just wash your hands, wear a mask. I posted a video to someone at Mark posted on my Facebook page. It was actually really kind of good about the mask. Really good video. Watch that. Wear your mask, wash your hands, stay out. of parties and gatherings around people, just stay away. I went to go visit my godson. Shout out Lauren Carpley, or Carpley, Tarpley. Yeah, I went to visit her, and the entire time I was in her house, my mask was completely on. And that was, and even when I was in the house, it was like I was 12 feet away. Literally, I would sit on the stairs, and so they could be away. Just do stuff like act like you care about whether or not somebody's going to live or die. Like, so anyway, if y'all have questions, let me know. I'll try to look through them and see what we got. But yeah, but this is what we're looking like, people. Yeah. Be safe. Y'all stay out of these streets. Wear your mask and take care. That's it.